We are back once again with another episode of the Cutmaster Cast after taking a little hiatus for the week.
Yep.
So this episode was pretty good. It was a little bit longer, a little bit more serious, I guess. I don't know.
We just talked about a lot of our events. We had a lot of events to talk about, and I liked the topic on timing and overall trying to be sure to be mindful of how the overall event should flow for the day, you know?
Right. No, it's good. And this is the way, some of our upcoming episodes might be where we have topics that come out of the events that we are actually doing for the week. And that's really where this podcast episode stems from.
Yeah.
So, we had a common theme this week when it came to timing during our actual events and, just giving some of our followers, which actually, I think this episode is catered toward those that are planning weddings and for wedding planners, and industry planners. So,
definitely.
Just some things to think about, and just things that we saw during the week during our events.
Yeah,
so it was good.
Really, really good episode, and we are at episode number 19 now.
19.
So it's awesome.
19.
Go ahead.
Gosh, we're getting so old.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
What do you like better, Christmas or wedding season?
Mr. Gray.
Yes. The answer would be wedding season.
Bingo.
Well, you've just inspired me to hire a DJ, so thank you.
Oh, well, good luck finding a DJ who can move and shake like this.
You are now listening to Cutmaster Cast.
Welcome back, peeps. We are back with another round of the Cutmaster Cast, your favorite industry wedding podcast. My name is Chris Romero.
What's up, everybody? My name is Tony Pacheco.
And we are DJs out of Albuquerque, New Mexico with Cutmaster Music. And if this is your first time joining, we would like to welcome you to the show. And on the show, we dive into 3 areas of discussion, which include our weekly events, industry business tips and hacks, and at the end of every episode, we take it back to the music.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we do it. And we inadvertently took a week off last week.
Yeah, so we were supposed to do an episode, and I got food poisoning.
Oh, no.
Bad seafood.
Oh.
We love those seafood boils, man, but this was the first time I was hit negatively by one.
Oh, no.
It was crazy because my girlfriend had the same pot and all that, but I was down bad. I don't know if I had just a bad one.
Got a bad shrimp tail.
Yeah, exactly.
Some crabs.
Well, Yep, I got some crabs. Bad shrimp tails.
Oh, yeah.
I guess some of them will have, they don't clean them as well as they should.
Right.
And that's what I was reading, and I was like, oh, I bet you that's what it was.
Maybe your fish came out of Tingley Beach.
Albuquerque, man, we're not near any ocean, so it takes a little while for that seafood to get here, and that is an issue.
Gosh, that's the worst too. Like food poisoning off of seafood is the worst.
Oh, it sucked. And I love seafood. I've never had food poisoning off of it. We love going to these seafood boils, and now I'm traumatized.
Yep, and I remember actually the same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
A while back, and I felt like it was seafood that just I got sick off of, and I had a hard time. Like it was shrimp, like going back and eating shrimp again. Yeah. So you know what? So this was my fault. I remember it now. I did one of those like shrimp cocktails, like from the store, from like Albertsons or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got so sick, and I haven't had shrimp cocktail since.
Damn. Yep. I mean, that'll do it, right? Just one bad time, and that's it. But yeah, so we took on a little hiatus, but it was all good,
That's right. Well, we had to take a hiatus, kind of, because typically we record these episodes on Tuesdays. We've got a lot of things going on during the week, so we've carved out some time for that. But last week, we actually had an event.
Yeah, we did
on Tuesday. So we can go ahead and just jump into it, start talking about our events, and let's talk about that. We had Raising Cane's once again. Albuquerque opened up its second location because we're so huge now.
You needed to. I feel like it helped with the demand because now there's no lines. Well, a little bit, but.
And that one was interesting. So the first Raising Cane's, for those of you that were there for that grand opening, was mayhem.
It was nuts.
And the lines, I think there's still a line out there in Montgomery to this day. But the second location, they kind of followed the same format, right? We went out there, set up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were ready to go DJing at 7, and they kind of had some opening ceremony type things, grand opening. cut the ribbon and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there wasn't nearly the buildup and the hype around that second location. You could have easily, I mean, when I was there around, I don't know, 11 o'clock, noonish, walked up and not had to wait.
Yeah.
Whether you were in the drive-thru or, walking into the actual
dine-in.
restaurant.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of shocked by that. I thought it would be more, I expected there still to be a line and there to be a little bit more hype, but I don't know, what happened with that one.
I think what they should have done is put us inside.
Yeah.
And then we would have just been a vibe the whole day. Like, oh, there's a DJ in here? But, like, they didn't know when to anticipate. If it was going to be like last weekend, you definitely wanted us outside because we helped entertain the line while it was going through. So that was really cool. But, yeah, when we didn't have anybody out there and we're DJing for no one.
It was just us out there kind of by ourselves.
Exactly.
And the inside is cool. They've got, like, mirror balls up in there.
Exactly.
And,
it's a party in there. So why not have a DJ?
I know. It was... but
I felt like we did a good job. We entertained them. There was guests on, like, there's like a patio area too, so we had speakers out there. So
there were a few people, and there were a few people on the patio.
come up to me and be like, "Great jams, man! Appreciate you." So,
well, people were going through the drive-through line and were like, "Good music, good music."
Oh yeah,
as they were passing by.
You always
us.
get the just people like pumping their fists and looking at you. You get the occasional weird look, but mostly people were vibing.
So it was cool. We appreciate Raising Cane's for having us out.
Mm-hmm.
I like those events that are like that because I feel like I call it radio DJ, where you just get to play whatever you want.
Oh yeah, it's good practice. I feel like you can do a little bit more experimental stuff in terms of like mashups, and as long as you keep the music flowing, no one's going to be critiquing you on like, oh, we didn't dance all night or something like that. You're just feeding a vibe. So
there's no pressure whatsoever.
Exactly.
Just we're sitting out there playing jams. So
good practice.
And chicken fingers are pretty good.
Yeah, the cane sauce. I really like the cane sauce and the chicken fingers, and so
I dig it.
Nice to get hooked up with some chicken.
I know. All right.
We had a full weekend of weddings too.
We did, and I'm in the mix now. We get going.
I like it.
Cutmaster Chris is finally on the regular.
He's
DJ.
He's in, ladies and gentlemen. He's in his wedding season.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad to be back.
Welcome. Where were you at?
So you know what? Let's do this because I know you had 2 events. I had 1. So let's talk about your first event, and then we'll ping pong back to me, and then we'll finish up with your last one.
So the first one was at Los Poblanos here in Albuquerque.
Whoops, wrong one.
Los Poblanos. Love that venue, man. They just take care of you. They do a really good job at making sure the staff is
LP.
Yeah, right. They just do a good job at like making sure everybody's on the same page. So even if I had a question, these other people knew the answer to that too. And what I really liked about Los Poblanos was, the load-in's great. That's a really nice part. But like everybody there I had worked with in the past, so it was a very smooth event. You know, we had Janet there, we had Courtney with La Luz events, and then we had Matt and Amy.
Oh yeah, we saw Matt out at Raising Cane's too.
I saw him all week. He was a photographer on he wasn't on Sunday, but the week before that. At my Hyatt Tamaya, I had seen him. He was the wedding photographer. Then I saw him at Cane's, and then I saw him again.
That's awesome.
At Los Poblanos. But yeah, the team was fantastic. The wedding was really, really beautiful.
Which lawn?
They did the ceremony in the back lawn.
Okay.
And then they had a band called Lon Piñon, local Spanish band. They were great.
Out underneath the gazebo?
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
So that was nice because then I was able to transition into dinner, do some prep work and turn everything on, get everything ready. You know, it was already pretty much on, but kind of get it all finalized. And then I just recently got the X-Vive XLR transmitter. Dude.
The wireless?
Yes.
So for those of you that aren't up to your DJ tech savviness, the X-Vives allow us to basically make a speaker wireless.
Yeah.
It's a godsend for us.
Yes, it is. And then I had one of the EVs, so it was truly wireless.
Right.
We had wireless powered speaker, wireless
battery powered,
battery powered speaker. Yes, wireless for audio, and it sounds clear. Great amplification. We had toasts out there. We had a gentleman sing like an Irish song. He was cool.
Wow.
He was badass because he he just was really Irish, and so he was, and then he pulled out his flute, and it was like the most Irish thing I had ever seen. But he was awesome, and the whole crowd was really pumped. And then at the end of it, he goes, "Let the wild rumpus begin," and then they all went crazy. And so,
that's funny.
I even heard they had to pull a couple strings because they had 80 people there instead of 60.
Oh, they went over the limit, the threshold.
Exactly. But great wedding. What was kind of unfortunate was at the end of dinner, we have to go back into the ballroom for dances and all of that stuff. Once I asked the guests and everybody to make their way in, worked out great, we're ready to go. I find out that the couple has asked the photographer to invite other guests to another room to take photos before they leave for the night. It's like wrapping up. And it was so bad because you have all these guests just waiting. And I can lighten it up a little bit, right? I started playing some Brown-Eyed Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, some light oldies that are fun that can start getting it going. But you can't fully break through to open dance until we had the first dance.
Yeah, you hadn't done the formalities yet.
Exactly. All the parent dances and the cake cutting and all of that. We couldn't really open it up. I wanted to open it up, but I couldn't. It just didn't feel right. And so I go and find out, and they're like, yeah, can you have, like, the Johnsons send them back to the library? And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is going to take forever. And it took a solid...
Johnson, party of 5. Johnson, party of 5.
Make your way to the library, please. Please make your way to the library. That was literally what I was saying. And so I went up to them and I was like, guys, we're running out of time. I've talked to them and we can go until 10:30. So that's pretty cool. But right now, if we start, we're going to have 55 minutes of open dance. And that's not including all the formal dances that we have to still get done. She's like, oh, okay. She wasn't understanding that we were running literally out of time because Los Poblanos has a sound ordinance.
Right.
Just of the location where they're at. There's certain venues that have that and you're hard done. And so... we got it going, got the dance floor going, and it was fun. We had them dancing. What's nice about that is you can't miss.
Right.
You only have 45 minutes, so
quick mix.
It's a party.
In and out. It's totally, hit them hard.
I had one lady getting mad, though. She was older.
Wow.
Well, they get mad when you don't play the whole song.
She only wanted 3 songs.
That's right, and that's where I'm like, I have to quick mix because we're only gonna have exactly.
Yeah, they kind of just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's funny because she would look at me, get all hurt, and then keep dancing. Oh, this is like I want to.
Right.
But
she stayed out there the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they get so pissed because you're changing their vibe, and then they're like, oh well, this is cool too. I can still dance, and so. But yeah, we were done at 10:30. Really nice and easy. Great working with Courtney and La Luz and Matt Blazing and everybody over there at LP. I can't remember that one gentleman's name, but he's the lead of the staff.
Oh.
Bartender, remember?
Yes.
All-star.
Oh, I can't remember it now either. I'm blanking.
I know, but really good guy.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic team at Los Poblanos, and that's what's really cool about them.
Yep, it's definitely one of my top spots too. I was super jealous.
And those rolls, man.
It was super. Oh my god, crack rolls.
Crack
rolls.
Oh yeah.
Matt, he ate. So they had dinner for us. It was great, and then I come up, and they're like, oh, did you leave any bread for Tony? And he was like, no, I ate them all. And I was like, what? And so luckily I was able to get one. But Matt, he was like, oh, no, I thought there was extra. So I just went in on it.
So Billy, who used to work with us before moving to Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
so he would jump on every single Los Poblanos gig. And he would go to the store and go buy, because you can buy the rolls.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And he would go buy rolls every single time, a bag of them, and take them home with him. Yeah.
Nice.
And they got the name crack rolls because of Billy, because he would just eat.
They're so tasty, man. They're so good. Really good bread.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So great event. Really, really fun. And what I like about this wedding was that everybody was really there to celebrate the couple. Everyone was from out of town, and so a lot of these things just add up to a good event.
Nice.
So a lot of fun.
Well, we're going to get to, after we talk about our events here, kind of something, the theme, it seems like, as we were talking earlier about our events, when it comes to timing and things like that. So I had an event also on Saturday.
Nice.
At the Embassy Suites, and this one was cool. So the couple the groom was a former student of mine.
Nice.
9 lives ago when I was a teacher at Manzano High School. I actually did his grad party.
Nice.
When he graduated, and gosh, I mean, I haven't been a teacher for at least 10 years. So they were my first class. So I don't know. We're pushing 14 years or so since, this graduation party happened. But apparently Dad was telling me the grad party is where these two connected.
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
Yeah, and hooked up, right? Like, and so here I am, and they've got kids. So this has been a long a while in the making for them, getting to the actual the ceremony and doing the reception and celebration. And so it was super fun. I saw a lot of people there that I knew, just that was affiliated with either Manzano or the family. So this was like they were expecting around 400 people. It was huge. Took up the whole entire big giant ballroom at Embassy Suites.
Yeah.
I would guess if I had to, the tables weren't full, that there was probably around 300 or so.
Yeah.
So it was still a pretty good size event. And one of the things that we were kind of talking about, a common theme that we'll dive into a little bit deeper was just the timing of things. I believe the night started at 5 o'clock with a cocktail hour. They had a buffet. So, and it took a while. We had myself and my assistant Micah each took a half of the room. They had
300
us,
is a lot of people.
They had us doing, sending people through the line. So that was fine. We did that. And then they just had like a lot of different formalities, right? So
did they just do them all?
So, well, this is the other thing too. And so things got pushed back. Number one, we got started late. So I believe grand entrance was supposed to be at
like 6,
it was,
5 or
it was
something.
like 5:45.
Oh,
but we didn't. It was past 6 when we got started.
Yeah.
But then they also had mariachis during dinner.
Okay.
And I think they had the mariachis. It was a long time. So like dinner lasted basically an hour and a half. It was pretty long. Things got pushed back. Then they had just a lot of different formalities, right?
Yeah.
And everything super traditional. So all your typical first dance, mother, son, father, daughter. They had a special Tonga dance from the island of Tonga. So they had these people come out there and do this.
Where's Tonga? I don't even know what that is.
It's in
Hawaii?
Some part of the world.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
So they did a Tonga traditional dance.
They did a traditional
Very
dance,
nice,
and I
very
guess
nice.
I think the groom's side is
Families from there.
Yeah, it has that ethnicity, right?
Gotcha. Nice.
So
Okay.
it was cool. But they did that too, and then they did a dollar dance. And so this was something I actually went up and asked them during the Tongan dance because the bride and groom were standing behind the head table.
Okay.
And this dance was like 5 minutes long.
Okay.
And they give money. And they talked about this. So they gave a little speech beforehand of what it means and that
The guests give money?
That the guests give money during this time and
During the Tonga dance.
during this dance.
Okay.
The dance floor, I'm not kidding, was filled with dollar bills, like all over it. Okay. So they had also told me that they wanted to do a traditional dollar dance.
Okay, yeah.
So I go and run up to them real quick, right? Like, hey, do you guys still want to do that? They're giving you the money now that way. And I'm kind of trying to push things along, right?
Exactly.
Hey,
yeah.
they're giving you the money here. Let's skip this half
Why
hour
do you need
of
to
the
do
dollar
a
dance.
dollar dance? That doesn't make sense.
So I asked him,
Yeah.
and she was like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "No, this is up to you guys. Like, just
Yeah.
let me know, like, what we want to do here." And they were like, "You know what? We're still we're on time here. Let's do it." So we do it,
Yeah.
and 300 people, half hour dollar dance.
Yep.
So we do that in addition to that, and then we did La Marcha.
Okay, that's a lot.
So
That'll take a while.
okay, so open dancing really didn't get started till in earnest, like probably about 9:15, 9:30. And then we went till midnight. So the cool thing was, honestly, that first hour of open dancing was lit. It was crazy, super fun. It was a party.
Nice.
And then we broke it up with bouquet and garter toss, which was fine. But getting back to our theme of timing and different events and things that we can discuss a little bit more after a while. At that point, I had just started the open dancing again, and then the groom's father came up and told me, which I did know about, but I kind of forgot at that point, that they had a taco truck waiting outside of the building, and they had a late night snack for everybody, and they wanted me to make this announcement. The taco truck is here.
Though.
So here we go. I make the announcement, and the whole room just clears. And
I mean, you did. They got exactly what they wanted,
right?
Which sucks for us, but. Ugh.
And then from that point on, it was the massive just drop off, right?
It's incredibly challenging to get them back into a room, right? And then
and whoever came back, they came back, and but in all that event probably should have ended at about 10:30, 11 at the latest.
And with the taco truck, do a big old bang, woo! Tacos outside, have a good night. You know what I mean? 10:30, you do the big old send off, and then they just.
It would have been awesome. But, we ended up, this was the thing, we ended up with probably 30 to 40 people left at the end of the night, at midnight.
Yeah.
And it made for a cool moment. I was able to grab some footage of that, threw it up on Instagram. And, you know what? It was cool. But when you have 30 or 40 people left in that big, giant space, it feels completely empty.
Yeah.
And it felt like that for that last hour, 45 minutes, hour or so.
It's tough.
So, but overall, it was still, fun. It was a good night.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk more about, things that we recommend and the timing of things and, just what we've seen and experienced. And that's kind of our topic of the day after we talk about your last event that you had on Sunday.
So I was at Four Seasons on Sunday, and that was great.
Yeah,
they were
Santa
really
Fe.
cool. Yep. I worked with Shelby Spoonhoward, the planner.
Yeah, Shelby's great.
And then
Shouts to Shelby.
Shout out Shelby. Haley, I can't remember her last name, but she's from Austin, Texas. They brought her in. They were all from Austin. Literally everyone was from out of town. And those are some of my favorite weddings because then they have nowhere to go.
Right.
And, they're there to celebrate for the couple.
That's right.
It was on a Sunday, but again, because it was a location wedding, nobody's there. No one's got to go to work on Monday.
Right.
So
it's a party.
Yeah, it was a great party. We did the ceremony over in the outside patio area. I was kind of scared because there was some clouds rolling in that looked dark and really mean. And I was like, okay, well, the weather report says it's okay, so we should be okay. And it never rained. It actually just turned into a really nice, cloudy, cool day versus the sun beating down.
Right.
And then during the ceremony, the sun creeped through, and it was a beautiful moment. It was kind of crazy. And then it cooled down again. Then after that, we went into our cocktail hour, dinner, stuff like that. But what was really kind of what hindered the night moving forward was the amount of speeches they had. They had 7 total toasters, and it was
How many?
7. Yeah, it was, and when you have your planning meeting with a couple, my general rule of thumb is the higher number of toasters you get or have, the less amount of time they should have to speak. So if you have 2 toasters, they could easily both talk for 3 minutes, and that's fine. But if you have 5 to 6 toasters, you probably want to give them 30 seconds to a minute, because those add up, and nobody sticks to a minute and 30 seconds. It's nerves happen. You're drinking, and sometimes you're just telling a story.
And if you're not just a public speaker and do it all the time, you get caught up in it and you don't understand. You lose track of time when you're speaking, right?
Yep.
So you have no sense of time and how long you've been out there. But every single person sitting down does.
Yeah, exactly.
And
They're
how
feeling
many
it.
times have we been to, whether it's a conference or anything, listening to this podcast, probably to me, and you're listening to someone just talk, and you're just like, oh my God,
Wrap
when
it
is this
up.
going to be over?
Yes.
Right?
It's the worst.
So.
And it sucked. The second toaster, she didn't get it. During dinner, I always be sure to walk to every single toaster and talk to them. Hey, toasts are going to be happening here in about 10 to 15 minutes. I just want to give you a heads up. Be sure to keep the mic up here. Try to avoid waving it around or keeping it down low. Try to think you're eating the mic. I say that.
Right.
And she didn't. That message was not across.
Yeah.
She was waving it around. Was that? Oh yeah, and then the story went. It was it would fade out after every sentence. And I would go up and I'd tell her I would try to do this, and she just wasn't seeing me. And so I felt bad for the videographer because we were working with Emily and Seiji.
Oh yeah, and so they weren't getting any of
he was plugged into my line, and he was like, "It's okay," and I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I told her." I was like, and he's like, "No, you're fine. It's all good." After all those toasts happened, we were able to kind of move forward with the night. I love what they did is they did grand intro into first dance. So that knocked out a formality right away. But then what they also did is they did father-daughter and then mother-son and used mother-son to get everybody into the dance floor. So we used A Lovely Day, Bill Withers, into September, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And, it's time to join our couple on the dance floor, or join our bride and his mom on the dance floor, the groom and his mom on the dance floor. The bride joined them as well, and then it turned into a party. But by that time, it was already 9:45, and we were there till 11. And so I don't mind, because again, you can't miss. We're only gonna have bangers. It's gonna be a good time. But personally, I'm like, come on, I want to DJ for a little longer than an hour and 15 minutes. I was talking to the videographer, and we were like, yes, our job is so much fun, but the best part, maybe 10% of our overall day, with load in, load out,
Absolutely.
setup, working with dinner and coordinating all of this, and then finally you get to that open dance.
Actually, let's
2 hours.
think about it. You
out
did
of a 10-hour day.
There you go. 2 hours out of 10-hour day. 20%.
Exactly.
Of your day was the actual party.
It's the fun part.
Yeah.
But hey, I love it all. You're really helping people with their big days. I sound like a broken record, but
this is good information for our listeners. For all 15 of them now.
Yeah.
That this is the reality, right, of some of these events. And this is really good. If you are a potential couple that's planning your wedding, these are things to think about, right? Because I think most people think we're going to have this gigantic party and it's going to be the best day ever. And they've got these thoughts of the emotions that they're going to be having, when really it's only, you've got so many things happening during the day and there's all these things that have to happen, that it's such a small sliver of the pie that is actually dedicated to giving you those emotions, So it just, I think that's where us being able to go through the planning process, and all we can do, what do they say? You can only lead a horse to water, right?
Yeah.
But you can't make it drink it.
Yeah.
And all we can do is offer our suggestions with things. And that's what we'll kind of dive into now. We can talk a little bit more about, some of the things that we found really just with our events this weekend, and ways that you can improve upon, or maybe it's not an improvement. It depends on you as the couple and what your goals are, right?
Yeah, it always depends on what you want, because we could have we would think, oh, it was the most boring wedding ever, but it was perfect for them, right? And so we really try to dissect the whole day and get a full understanding of what they want to achieve, whether it's a more intimate or more party vibe, just depends.
Right. And so, when it comes to timing, though, I think it's super important to understand your layout, and the order of events for the day and how it affects things, and how everything, it's a domino effect, right?
Yeah.
So like in the case of mine, when we got behind early on, I already knew that we were going to have a pretty long dinner portion. And so we actually were able to make up time during that time.
Yeah. Right.
But there was just a lot I could see, just like we're talking about earlier, just a lot. We've got a lot of things going on here. So when I laid out the timeline, we had open dancing starting at 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
And for most of your older folks, that's a pretty late time period, right? So you just have to understand that. And it's okay. You just have to know, most people aren't going to party until 12. So think about this. If we were there and our reception got started at 5:00, but their ceremony was earlier and it was off-site at a church.
Those are always tricky.
And I think the ceremony was probably at, if I have to guess, maybe 3:00.
Yeah.
So you're asking people to be with you from 3 to midnight?
Yeah.
That's 9 hours. It's longer than a work day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen for most people.
Yeah,
So
and it gets tricky too. I feel like, people are having to commit to that time, and there's a 2-hour break, and they don't know what to do.
Right. Well, and then there's a lot of other factors. Like at my wedding, lots of kids.
Oh, wow.
All right. And okay. Let me put this out there.
Phones on when the kids are.
Let me put this out there. I love my own kids. All right. But I'm probably not taking Evan to anybody's wedding anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because the kid is a kid. He's a 5-year-old. And what do 5-year-olds like to do? They like to go up to your uplights and they're blinking different colors and they like to go put their hands on them and they like to move them around and they stare. They put their eyes and stare at them. You know what else they like to do? They like to go up and slam my DJ booth and the parents aren't watching them and they don't care because the parents are
having fun,
trying to have a good time
whatever.
too.
Yeah.
You know, and so, oh my gosh, I again, I love kids. I love kids. Don't get me wrong, but I hate kids at weddings. There, I said it.
Hot take.
Oh my gosh.
I am not the biggest fan. I don't mind when they're not bothering me, right? But yeah, when they're screaming, running around.
So I'll tell you this: at most of the events that we do, where there are smaller kids present, I mean, on average, are those events like your Los Poblanos? Okay,
there were no kids.
80 people, no kids.
Yeah.
Even
actually, there was one.
There you go.
There was one baby.
At most of our 150 people or less weddings, not very many kids typically. But when you have the big numbers that we did at this one, 300 plus, it was, you're going to have a lot of kids there. And
That's tough.
So I'll have to show you. I took video. They had another company come in and do the photo booth for them. And they also brought in the Dancing on the Clouds effect.
Yeah.
And I need to show you what that looked like. Number one, I'm not going to talk about, about that. But when they put the smoke out on the dance floor, immediately all the kids ran out on the dance floor during their first dance. They didn't want that, but that's what happened. And so the parents were trying to wrangle their kids, get them off the dance floor during their first dance.
No.
So, anyways, so getting back to talking about the timing of things.
Yeah.
You just have to be aware and understand. So like they wanted the dollar dance and I said, okay, that's fine. We can go ahead and do that. I just want you to understand what's going to happen here. You've got 300 people. Let's just say half of those go and do a dance with you, 150. If you give each of them 30 seconds of your time, just do the math on how many minutes that is. And that's how long that's going to take.
Yep.
Right. And they look at you like, oh my God. And I'm like, yep. And I'm not going to stop the dollar dance because people are in line to like give you money and to say hi to you. That's your whole purpose of that is for them to have a dance with you. So you have to understand that that's going to happen. When we got to La Marcha, the groom was coming by and he was like, I don't want it to be that long. I don't want it to be. I'm like, hey, you have to understand.
Tell the leaders that.
And I told them this during but they don't remember because now they've had some drinks too and they don't quite understand what's happening, right? And we went through that during during our final event review.
Yeah.
The La Marcha goes as long as your leaders take you. And we just play the music and it's got meaning to everything they're doing. And you have 300 people in this wedding. That bridge is going to be a mile long.
Yeah, well.
And he's like, we don't want it to be that long. We don't want it to be that long. And it's like, well, it's up to them.
Yeah.
We'll go as long as they take it. And they were actually doing the abbreviated version of it, which is great.
Nice.
But it still lasted.
Still, with 300 people.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's a numbers game at that point. Like there's just too many people to do all that. I mean, if you want to do it, by all means, that's fine. I get it. But the dollar dance just felt so unnecessary, especially with that conga dance or not,
right.
Whatever.
And that's what I thought as well. But, I don't know. It's tough. That
one's not even like a tradition either. It's just like an old wedding thing. You know what I mean?
So this was the thing. I don't think they knew that was a traditional dance where they give the bride and groom money. They just explained it at that point because they had told me that, hey, we've got some friends that are going to do this dance for us. And I think it was just going to be, they thought it was going to be, like a dance, like a little, some entertainment. Right. And, so that's why I went and ran up to them like really quickly. When I saw that was happening, I was like, yes, this is perfect.
Yep.
We don't have to do the dollar dance anymore and we can just get into stuff. They still wanted to do it. Super traditional, and it was what it was. So you just have to understand the implications it can have on your event by doing all these different things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had something not as similar as like traditional, but for my wedding, they wanted to make sure to take some photos with guests before they left for the night. And as I reflect on the evening, I think what they should have done was gone through the formalities and then broken away and because then it's free game. Do whatever you want. We're just partying for the rest of the evening. But what they did is we did our toasts, all of that. I invite them in from outdoor dining into the dinner dancing space. Everybody's in there. The couple is nowhere to be found. Everyone's looking around. They always look at the DJ because you're the face. You're the face of the event, and they're like, "Well, are we doing something? Can we get the lights down?" You know, people are like thinking I'm messing
They're
up.
getting antsy.
I hate
Yeah.
that because it reflects bad on me. Like I don't know what I'm doing,
Right.
and I'm like, "No, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's these people. I'm waiting on them." And so they would call me, and I'd do the names, all that stuff. But they didn't understand that with the sound ordinances and all of that, you only had a certain amount of open dance, and
Right. Yeah,
It
no, a
was-
lot of times, you know, your guests don't understand the ins and outs of what's happening. Same thing happened with me, okay? We're trying to get into the toasts,
yeah,
but Bride let me know she really needed to go use the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm not going to do them without you.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah,
You know, you got to do what you got to do,
Yeah.
right? And so what happens during that time, one of the parents comes up to me, can we get going with the toast? I'm like, yep, we're going to get going as soon as our bride comes back in the room, you know,
Exactly.
like, you know, and I get it. People
look
get
around,
antsy.
"Oh, wait, yeah, she's
but
not
yeah, they think that, you know, there's, that they need to push things along, and, you know, I know. And it's
It's
I don't know.
PTSD from bad DJs. It's bad
Right.
events, right? They see it and they hope that this doesn't happen, like, because they know that the night needs to move forward, just like we know, and so that's how important it is. The
Yeah.
timing, because it's felt by all of your guests. You can
And I think that is the moral of the story here. You know, everything matters that you do. You have to make sure it's well thought out with purpose. And then I think having either a planner, a coordinator that's experienced will be able to help you get through this and be like, you know what, is that really what you want? Is that really going to accomplish the goals that you're looking for on your wedding day?
really help paint the picture of what their ideas look like, right?
Right.
Because I feel like we do that a little bit, but planners are a lot more involved with them and can kind of dissect it. Because we can tell, but we'll maybe have 1, 2, 3 meetings throughout the whole thing. So
Right. But I think it's really important to listen to those that have the
Yes,
experience, because I
exactly.
can tell you exactly what that size of event and La Marcha is going to do.
Yep.
And that's perfectly fine. I can tell you exactly what the dollar dance is going to do.
Mhm.
Perfectly fine. You just need to understand and be okay with it, right? Because when you told me we want everybody to party, just also understand not everybody's staying till midnight. So at this point, if we're starting at 9 o'clock, you really have a good solid hour of most of your people there. And some will have left by that point.
Yeah.
You know, you had a lot of people with kids there. Most people's kids aren't staying
no.
in there till.
Well, they're most parents aren't staying. They're tired. They got kids.
Exactly. We're old.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, it's just something you always want to think about, whether it's ending at an earlier time than you're thinking, or just making sure that if you have a formality heavy day, maybe start it a little bit earlier or something.
Yeah, or you can knock. So, like, I would have done that specialty dance during dinner.
Yeah, right?
You know, you could have taken care of that during that time, right? And these are things that I suggested, but they wanted to do, you know, some of the stuff later on. And they have their own vision, and it's unfortunate sometimes because I think we can kind of see what they want and hear what they want to accomplish, but I know what they're saying is not going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But, you know, one other thing I do want to talk about before we head on into the grab bag section here is also, this drives me nuts. Okay. Talking about a pet peeve here is room layout. And another thing that you need to think about ahead of time, there was not a designated planner for this event.
Okay.
And so I think that's where a planner, I think, would have helped them out. I showed up to the wedding and the ballroom, and I noticed, okay, think of the ballroom as a rectangle.
Mhm.
And then when you walk in, on the opposite side of the rectangle was the head table and the dance floor. Okay. So where you walk in is where the DJ was going to be set up.
Yeah.
And I had this massive gap in space, and it was carpet from me to the dance floor.
Ugh.
And probably I would say it was probably about a good 20 feet, if not 30 feet, you know, between me and the dance floor. And, but what I didn't like was like when people walk in the room, they're seeing the back of our setup, right?
Yeah,
and
I hate that.
And speakers are. It just was not well thought out at all.
I hate when when that is done. I don't. That's just me being dramatic, but I just have to keep it a little cleaner, right? Versus just like,
which is fine, but I mean, to me, I'm just thinking about the visual presentation of this.
yeah, it
right?
looks way better when you don't have to have you're walking in and you see the back of it.
Yeah,
right?
like,
And that happened to me at Hyatt Tamiya last weekend. They had my back to the windows as opposed to the wall where you traditionally are. And I was
right.
like, why would you do that? But
Yeah.
I didn't argue.
And we didn't have like I'm running power to weird spots and stuff. Once again, it was just not well thought out. And then I went when I got there, went and grabbed the banquet captain right away because I thought, okay, well maybe we're in the corner,
Sure,
you know,
like,
and then we're gonna put
doesn't make
speakers
sense.
and this we're just gonna have to do lighting
Yeah.
kind of like this. And it was a large head table,
Mm-hmm.
6 couples I think on each side.
Wow.
It was pretty big. And so he was like, "Oh yeah, no, we do this all the time." And I'm like,
That's awful.
"You do this all the like yeah." I'm like, nobody would think of like this layout, like and functionality wise and how things look, but I don't know, just I don't want to talk bad about spaces and how they do things. We always roll with the punches, and it worked out, and it was good, and it's going to look great in pictures and whatnot, just because of
And that's where it kind of gets frustrating because it's fine. It looks great. It does look good. You know what I mean? And so they're going to look at it and be like, what do you mean? It's great.
Right.
You know what
In
I
the
mean?
pictures, it looks great,
Yeah. But it could look better.
But it could look and just function better.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to walk in and
Or even
look
it
at
could look the same
look
and
behind the
function
DJ?
better. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and originally they had us kind of up against the dance floor. So there would have been 30 feet of space behind me with wires running behind me.
That's
and most people wouldn't have even seen the DJ booth and the speakers, like, because you would have had seats that literally would have been behind the booth.
Yep.
So I backed us up against the wall so that way we had great sound. Oh, I also used the X Vives as well
Nice.
on the opposite side of the room
Nice.
with 2 wireless speakers.
Boom.
So we had good coverage all the way around. So
Yeah.
audio wasn't a problem, wasn't an issue. It was just more of the presentation of things. I thought it could have been, like you just said, it could have been better.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt like it was an afterthought and they didn't care. DJs just always go there.
That's true. And it's frustrating sometimes. They had the layout for Four Seasons was interesting. Typically, you're in the center, and then you have tables on both sides. But what they did is they put me on it wasn't center because there was a lot of people, and there was like 140 people.
I've never been centered there.
Really?
I've always been like on the corner, kind of like to the side of the fireplace.
Really?
Yeah.
My back is always to that patio.
Huh.
Always.
Oh, yeah. So you've actually been centered in the room?
Yeah, with that.
I've never and I haven't done
That's crazy.
I like a ton of events there. I mean, it's probably been a
haven't done
handful,
either,
but I've
but-
always been on the corner, and I've had to put a speaker on each side of the fireplace there.
Nice. Okay, yeah. That's great.
But-
Honestly, that's fine too.
But it's like
room is
we're
so
we're up
small.
against the longer end of the room,
Yeah.
right? So
So yeah, what they did is they did a U with the U was to the fireplace. They had me, and then they had like a bunch of tables, and then the dance floor. So it was a unique kind of setup. The toasts were really unique because like where we had to put the toaster and so they could like speak to everyone. They had to be like across, but it was fine. But yeah, the layout was very interesting, and it was tight, man. It was tight. I couldn't move, but it was fine. It was all good.
you had to get your skinny on.
I literally had every time I would go behind the booth, have to like shimmy in.
Ooh, you gave him a little shimmy?
Yeah, baby.
Had to do a little show every time I would get behind that booth.
Hey.
Nah, but it was fun. They had a really good time. The dance floor size was perfect. It was overflowing. There was too many people.
You know what? So I'll give it up for that too. Like we had, like I said, 300 plus people, and we had overflow onto the carpet. Like that first hour was banging. It was so good.
That's where it gets frustrating, right? You end at 10:30, cap it with a taco truck. Best night of their lives.
Dude, ending the night with tacos is always going to be the
Always
best
a
night
good
of your
time.
night.
Yeah.
Of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. So good events this weekend.
Yeah. Think
And-
about timing, y'all. It's
Yep.
important.
We got some more coming up that we'll talk about in next week's show, but we're going to go ahead and do it and get to one of our favorite segments.
Oh, yeah.
You know it.
You know it.
It's how we do it.
We love it.
It's called the grab bag. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh,
Getting good.
we got copyrights to that, people. I'm just letting you know right now.
Don't steal it.
That's right. Okay, so first one, we're going to go, so to explain it to you all, the grab bag is where we go scour the internet, mostly TikTok, and we're going to do TikToks today on industry issues or tips and tricks and hacks, and we discuss it. So let's get into this first one here.
Okay.
This is from Paige Alice. Paige Alice. Let's
Okay.
see.
I'm 4 months out from my wedding. Let's do a little recap on things that were a huge deal to me 2 years ago when I first got engaged. And let's see if they're still a big deal to me now. Spending money I don't have. 2 years ago, I thought this was not really that big of a deal and kind of thought, like, we'll figure it out as we go. Very quickly, I realized that things cost way more money than you think, and this is only an 8-hour event, and it's so easy to get caught up in the details and kind of forget the whole point is that you're marrying your best friend, and all the little details that add up to thousands and thousands of dollars are not necessary. And for what? To impress people that really don't care? That just want good food, good music, and good drinks? It's not worth it. My no kid.
Okay, so let's talk about that first one. This one's got a few, I think, 3 different points into it.
Nice.
So this is a theme I've been seeing a lot in just some of the, bridal wedding groups, the groups that have actual brides that are going to get married, budget and spending and how much a wedding costs. And I think it's one of those things that until you get in and start actually planning a wedding,
Yeah.
I
realize
think a lot of people don't get it. They don't understand how much things cost. Look, and I'm not talking about even just us as the DJ, right? Invitations.
Yeah.
They're pricey.
Mhm.
Now you want to go custom invitations and you got to get a designer and you got to have design work done, right? And just a lot of different things. So it starts to add up definitely over time. And
exactly.
I've been seeing that a lot.
Right. Like table linens or random things, flower holders, all these things just add up.
Right. And I think it's very important at the very beginning to prioritize what is important to you.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's go to her next one here.
Kid policy.
Let me go back a little bit.
It's not worth it. My no kid policy. I will die on this hill. There will be no children at my wedding. My sister recently had a baby. My best friend's about to have a baby. Multiple of my bridesmaids are pregnant or just had a baby in the last year. And I think a lot of people expect me to change my mind. And the answer is no. No children at my wedding.
We just talked about that earlier. I love it.
I agree. I mean,
it's so hard. You don't want to offend people with have kids, and I get it. But gosh, it's so I'll give you this. There's an age, okay?
Yeah.
Newborns to basically not mobile, perfectly fine.
Yeah. Right.
They can't do anything. They just need to be fed.
Yeah.
Not a problem. And then they get mobile,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this gap from like I don't know. 2 to 3 to about
maybe 8,
maybe 7, 8 years old, where the kids are kids and they're going to want to get into stuff and they want to, they want to run around and they see cool lights all over the place.
Or you know what I've seen is like they had a kid room.
I'm down with that. I've seen that too.
Entertain the kids.
Yep.
You know you're going to have people with kids there. Have a room with a Nintendo Switch, some board games, and those kids are fine. Those kids don't care. They just want to play, and so, entertain them.
Yeah, it just gets, tough for people. So it was, I felt kind of bad for Micah, my assistant this weekend, because he was like on kid duty, right? Now I've got an assistant that's like, got to watch out for all of our uplights and stuff.
Yeah.
So this one kid kept coming, and he's a little dude, keeps coming up and putting his hands all over our glass on the screen, on the DJ booth.
Geez.
And he starts banging it and stuff. And Micah keeps going over there and he's being nice and trying to talk. But then mom finally just gets fed up with Micah. With my assistant. Yeah. And basically, some parents they get super protective and whatever, and quit talking to my kid like that, and so she was like, it's okay, his dad will get him. You don't have to watch over him, And so she got kind of, just but it's things like that we don't want to have to worry about, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to play defense on the DJ booth.
Right.
I'm trying to DJ an event. I'm trying to make sure the toasts will go on time. You know what I mean?
So I felt kind of bad for Micah. He got a piece of Mama Bear.
Oh, that's tough.
Oh, man. But okay, so let's keep it going.
Okay.
I think she's got one more here.
Nice.
Having a grand exit, I don't care anymore. Logistically, when I realized that they actually fake these for pictures, I was like, these won't be very good photos. My husband is not going to be excited about pretending. He'd be like, are you freaking serious? We're pretending like we're done with our wedding when we're not. It's going to be a no for him.
I am 100%
Just
on
do
board
the
with
exit on time. Do it at a right time. But faux exits, you're telling everybody the party's over. So
literally,
yeah,
like we're gonna take a picture of everybody, like sending us
as
off.
you exit.
We're leaving. We're exiting, but we're not really going to. And it's just,
it's
I
felt immediately. People you can't just convey that the party isn't over. You can, but it's just not.
You're faking something for an Instagram photo,
Yeah.
and now you are potentially putting your party at risk too, depending on what time you do that at.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you want to do that during open dancing, forget it. You are going to have a drop off.
Yeah,
exactly. It's
It's
probably
like the
gonna
taco
happen.
truck vibe.
Yeah, you can't have taco trucks and faux exits. Like,
You can, but if you just have to just think about it. Don't have a party after.
right. Okay.
Send it.
I'm going to move on to this next one. This is Grit and Grace Events.
Nice.
Let's see what she's got to say.
If you're a 2023 or 2024 bride, I need you to know this. Because as a wedding planner, I'm noticing this with basically every wedding I'm doing. And I just want to give you a fair warning. So many guests are saying yes. Like, such a high percentage. Normally, it's like 70, 75, maybe 80. It's like in the 90s consistently these days. So mentally prepare yourself for like the best party ever and also covering the costs of more guests.
So I thought that was interesting.
So what is she's saying? Like,
so the guests are saying yes, like that, are RSVPing. And saying
oh,
yes to coming to your event. So
Okay.
she's seeing like 90%, where I think they used to say like, expect 25% to say no, like to.
Wow.
To,
I didn't know that.
You
Wow.
might invite.
Sure.
So like my wedding this past week, and they said they invited over 500 people, and they were expecting 400. And I bet you only 300 showed up to this one.
Yeah.
But this lady here is saying that she's seeing a lot more, like 90% saying yes. So.
I got you. More consistent people actually coming to the event.
Yeah. So you venue coordinators and planners out there, hit us up in the comments. What are you all seeing here for
curious.
especially local in Albuquerque? Are you seeing more saying yes?
Are the RSVP numbers up? I'm
Yep.
curious.
All right, cool. Let's do one more here.
Okay.
And then we'll keep it going.
Nice.
Okay, I'm convinced. Brides who are planning their wedding on a budget literally just want their feelings to get hurt. You guys asked for more wedding de-influencing, and I'm gonna give it to you. And for the record, I definitely hurt some feelings in the last one, and don't be surprised when I do it again. Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
give it to
Guest
us.
book. I know that this goes back to the dawn before ages, but you don't need a guest book. You already get so many cards from your guests where they probably took the time to send you a lot more of a heartfelt message rather than putting them on a spot, waiting in a line to sign that guest book. And let's be honest, it's not just the guest book. It's the guest book sign, it's the table, it's the extra decor needed to make that whole space look like a thing. I didn't have one, never even thought about it, and I was good. Next up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting, right? You know what? I was thinking back to my wedding, which was, gosh, I think it's going to be 20 years this year.
Nice.
Dang, I'm old. We didn't do a guest book, but we did one of those pictures that, where the guests all sign around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the guest books are just played out. Like I don't know. Hit us up in the comments. Are you guys reading your old guest books?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. There was one on Sunday, and then there was a Jenga board on Saturday.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Jenga boards where they're all signing a
You
Jenga
signed a piece.
So I think something like that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where you've got just like a novelty item, something that you're going to use at the house, or
I like the idea of something you would use like a game or something. I hate it when you see like wooden pegs being dropped in like this thing, and only like half of them got filled.
Right.
'Cause then you're like,
I've
oh,
seen
that sucks. Not everybody did it. It's not it's not even as you know what I mean? You wanted this amazing thing that everybody would sign, and then it's only halfway filled, and then you're like, okay, well, what do we do with it now?
It's gonna have to go fake some friends. Like you go start signing.
Just put fake signatures and throw it in there for the sake of the look. No, I liked the Jenga board. I've often been a fan of like a photo booth guest book, where they put a photo in there. You print two.
So like the photo booth.
That's cool.
I dig that as your guest book, and we see that at a lot of our events because we offer the photo booth and we offer a guest book or a scrapbook with every photo booth, and the scrapbook acts as the guest book for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it allows them to write something nice in there next to their goofy picture.
Or that new trend of the voicemail is really cool too.
Yep, we've seen that too.
I like that one.
Okay, she's got a couple more here.
Okay.
Next up are the seating areas. Here's the thing about these. Your guests are only going to have the opportunity to sit in them, and they probably still won't even sit in them, during cocktail hour, which is usually like only an hour long. And one of these little seating stations literally can cost like $1,000. And to pair with that is...
So the seating areas, basically to explain this for those of you listening, and your car here is, like the lounge, like the nice little lounge furniture that they'll put outside during cocktail hour and whatnot. So I've heard that recently as well too. I think, did we have somebody on the podcast that talked about that and how much that costs? And maybe I saw a TikTok on it or something, but I mean, it's really costly and nobody uses them.
Nobody
sits
They're
in
all
them.
standing
Right
around high boys. You know what I mean? Or even they're all just casually talking.
Yeah.
No one is. I like, maybe some high tables up, but other than that, no one. No.
Yeah.
No one's sitting there.
You're wasting money there.
Yep.
this little fancy cocktail thing. I get that like making a his and her signature cocktail is like super trending right now. But for
It's like
those
a drink
that are
display.
like on a budget and you've got to prioritize what's important, this just ain't it. Like it's cool, but in terms of priorities, come on, like this has got to be way down there. And speaking of cocktail, these little like personalized whatever they're called. You know what I'm talking about? Like where they have the initials on here. Like that's bougie, I'm not gonna lie. But like, do you really need that? No, you don't. Okay, I'm convinced.
All right. So there you go. I like her tips there, you know, especially because we had a TikTok on earlier talking about the cost of a wedding. You know, as you start getting further and deeper into this, you start looking and seeing all of these on Pinterest and all these different boards and all these cool little things. And, oh, that would be cool. And, oh, we can personalize it this way and that way and do this and that. And then that all starts to add up, you know. Oh, yeah, we need a cool lounge area that nobody's going to sit in. And we're going to pay $1,000 each.
Exactly.
And we're going to have 3 of them. We're going to pay $3,000 for seats that nobody's going to sit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like that you should be able to, you should be prioritizing these things on what's important to you, and just really think about like the feelings that you want to have on your wedding day, as opposed to like all the stuff that you want to have or whatever like that. Like think about like what kind of memories you want to have. Do you want to have memories of you dancing? Do you want to have memories of you talking with people or with all of your guests? Or do you want memories of you like with your significant other, like doing certain things?
Maybe they want memories of people eating cookies with their faces on it.
Maybe they do, you know. But yeah, I think that's smart to think about those things and prioritize what's important, because yeah, at the real core of it all, you really don't need much to have a banging wedding.
Nope. All right. Let's keep it moving. It's time.
Oh yeah.
Great Scott, we need to go back to the music. Like I know my 2 weddings that I've got coming up this weekend have completely different feels and vibes, and just like they're fun playlists.
Oh,
like I'm just going to get into some stuff that, once again, that I just haven't played in a while, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
One of my couples, the one that I'm playing for in Santa Fe on Saturday, they actually really liked my Mixcloud mixes.
Heck yeah.
So they gave me all of this hip hop stuff, but they were like, but we want you to just run with it. They're like, this is the stuff that we like and enjoy, but you just do your thing. We want mashups, and we want, we want good fun mixes and stuff like that.
The best type of couple.
So yeah, it's gonna be pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Cool. Well, I think we can put a bow on this episode and call it a day. But it was good to get back and get back on the microphone here.
Yeah, it was nice. It's good to be back on the mic talking about events.
That's right.
Got more this weekend.
Got more coming up.
Uh-huh.
So we will do it again next week, peeps.
Yeah, appreciate you all. See you guys later.
All right, we'll see you.
Thanks for checking out the Cutmaster Cast Podcast. Make sure you stay tuned with all things related at www.cutmastermusic.com.